Jane came to Lincoln as a refugee from Iraq, fleeing violence and religious persecution. While she was a successful clothing designer in her home country, teaching at an art institute where I got to see some of the beautiful designs she had made, when she got to Lincoln, she spent her first years here just learning English and taking care of her 5 children while her husband worked. She struggled, but she survived through a cancer diagnosis. And after some years here, she got her citizenship and then sponsored her elderly parents to come to America as immigrants so that they could be near Jane and her siblings. She made a home for her parents in a small basement apartment about a block from here, actually, on 16th Street. And she took the responsibility of providing for them as well as herself and her children. After I'd known Jane for about a year, as she had been coming to our open shelf pantry regularly to get food to feed her big family, she told me that her mother's health was starting to decline and that she was increasingly concerned about leaving her father and mother home alone together in the apartment. Justice in Action follows the model of Nehemiah by starting each fall with the listening process that I described, where we hear the cries of the people. Then those who share their concerns are invited to gather for an annual community problems assembly, where we vote on which issues to address in the coming year. This past November, 300 people from participating faith communities in Lancaster County voted to address our broken mental health care and criminal justice systems. From there, interested individuals help facilitate a research process where we think it over, like it says Nehemiah thought over the issues of his time in verse 7. We've now narrowed down 2 very broad issue areas, mental health and criminal justice reform, to specific problem statements, and we have found and researched solutions that can be implemented in our community to address the suffering our loved ones are facing. Our goal is to gather over 1,000 people of faith and goodwill to show our public officials that there is broad support for these issues and the solutions we're seeking. History shows us that really accomplishing anything for the cause of justice rarely happens spontaneously, and it never happens without serious effort and relationship building. To do justice in Lincoln and Lancaster County, we don't just need an understanding of the problems and well-researched solutions. There's plenty of studying and research happening in Lincoln. And yet, people like Jane and her family are still suffering. Like Nehemiah, we need the power of organized people, moving in the same direction, making the same requests of those in power until, as the prophet Amos wrote, and the great leader Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King so often quoted, justice rolls down like water and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. Amen.